Good afternoon, everybody. Quite excited to be here with you, share with you what we've been working on at GBD for the past few months. Let's get my slides going here. Just a brief overview. I'm a third-year architecture student at PSU. I'm good friends with Susanna, who actually just presented. She's actually a great architect, future architect to keep an eye out for. So basically, the theme for my internship here was this idea of collecting design data and synthesizing that data so that we can better leverage it and inform our next design decisions within the architecture produced by GBD. So we're going to cover that as well as a few wrap-up details of the projects that came out in 2020. Minor lag here, I apologize. Perfect. So within the Net Zero internship, GBD really wanted to create sort of this idea of a lineage within the program. So my Bentley Rager, who was the ETO intern last year, really kind of set the standard and created this internal backlog of all the projects produced within that year, and then recording them within an internal database as well as reporting those to the AIA. So when I came on board, my job was to essentially just expand upon that, add to that catalog internally, with the hopes that we can eventually merge this data to create a myriad of project dashboards, which will be a tool moving forward for our designers to really inform past decisions, weigh those, and really sort of create really smart, calculated decisions moving forward. So we're going to touch on that later in the presentation. Next moves moving forward is really just to keep progressing this goalpost forward within this idea of a project dashboard within the firm. This is just a brief wrap up of sort of the timeline in our GBD DDX reporting. You'll see a minor dip here in 2020. This had to do with the bulk of our projects early in the year being IT projects, which typically don't receive energy modeling. But we have a myriad of really huge and exciting projects coming out that have clients who are very interested in lead pursuance and as well as energy modeling that will really boost these numbers up as we sort of move through 2021. So this is a brief overview by typology of our predicted EUI reduction. We're slightly below the AIA average at 49%. We're at 44.8. This is expected to increase in reduction as this year, again, we get more of those energy models in. The bulk of the projects were just so early in conceptual design that, once they get into schematic design or certainly by the construction document phase, they'll have all these energy models in to bank, and then we'll see this reduction rise as the year progresses. But we had quite a few successes within the office typology. And then of the upcoming projects, we're going to see this mixed use number really increase. A lot of exciting projects coming out in that realm. All right, so to get to sort of the second component beyond just what is the backbone of the DDX reporting is this idea of creating internal project dashboards for our designers and architects within GBD. So currently we do a great job. GBD knows how to design an incredibly sustainable building, many successes prior to even this introduction. But there's an issue with how our energy modeling or carbon modeling and just sort of the recognition of our top performances is stored. So currently, we receive energy models on a project that we're working on, and it's great for the timeline through that project. But once the project is over and it's in construction document phase and it's being built, these reports get siloed away. They lay dormant. Cobwebs sort of start to grow on them, and we have them still stored somewhere. But the issue is you can't find trends in between these. It's hard to recognize patterns or perhaps reference a past success that would best, be applied to this new project. So our needs really become this idea of like, okay, what if we have an internal dashboard or an internal program that we have this real-time capability to tap into all the projects that have been made, are going to be made, and really just start to recognize trends that both in successes and where we could have done better or should do better. So the idea is, through these project dashboards, we really want to see cross-referencing between projects. And then with the cross-referencing, using infographics to better help the designers visualize, specific trends or where, it should sort of lead them into this next benchmark for reaching 2030 goals. You get all these mix of, sorry, I gotta pop up here. You get a mix of great feedback from different groups, but with that design information, it gets sort of spread out and could sort of taper off. So we really want to streamline communication amongst all of our designers and keep this project dashboard current, because if it isn't current, then it's not really going to properly serve the firm as it should. We're just going to go to the next slide here. Perfect. So the idea is to introduce our current backbone to the into the Power BI platform. So with Power BI, we can take this current catalog that both Bentley and myself have been adding to and turn it into this active live dashboard system where all of the design detail is then handpicked and selected with catered infographics that will better help our design team really reference the past projects. So what we're looking at here is a mock-up study, essentially, of how we would potentially want these project dashboards to look. So what we're seeing is a real macro, zoomed out scale of all the active projects for the year that GBD is currently working on. We see high density, obviously, in the Oregon state, and then slight variation off of that in Washington and California. So from here, you'd be able to see the top performers in general within the firm's GBD average predicted EUI, and then the percent reduction right below. You'd also be able to drill down further and query projects by their design phase, the climate zone that they're in, and also the building type. So as we go further in, we can zoom into the state and really get a closer view of the projects by category. So on the side, you have this filtering bar where you can further kind of hone into what projects you're looking for. So in this case, let's say we're anywhere from medium to large office space. You're going to get the project results and anything that applies to the specific constraints that you had placed on it. And this is sort of just getting an idea of where we're at with this typology. Okay, so if it's a hotel, or our numbers higher off the office, it's like, okay, it looks like we're doing great in offices. So really just kind of creating a whole lineage of storytelling through past work that the firm has already accomplished, frankly. So you can zoom in further from here, and then we can get into specific projects. And this is all information that we would get from energy modeled reports from our team of engineers. So we have options on most of these projects that we entertain during the design process. Is it a VRF HVAC system? Is it natural gas? So that you have these options that you can toggle with. And then you'd be able to see how your predicted EUI is going to shift as you play around with the functions. And that's an exciting feature from both a design aspect, but also when we're speaking with clients, we can kind of show them past successes. So if they're on the fence with the PV array, which is really going to lower their EUI, you can really in real time show them, like, look, this is the payoff time, these are the cost incentives, and look how much you're going to save on energy if we bring in this PV array. And then it will also have, handpicked infographics that will really kind of tell the story of the project, the energy use breakdown, the annual greenhouse emissions and avoidance in real time, the predicted EUI, the window wall ratio. It's all just the necessary info for that specific project. And this is, you know, it's meant for our designers to use. So we really would like, you know, moving forward in the next few months to get their specific feedback on what are the infographics you want to see, how will this better help you, you know, propel projects forward and towards 2030 goals, and you know, what do you not use? Can we, you know, perhaps trim something out if it's not being used? So moving forward, we're going to try and create the beta version of this, get that out to our designers, and then collect a survey afterward to really get that fine-tuned moving forward and see where we can take our design data and our implementation of Power BI. And I would just like to give a special thank you to the ETO for this incredible internship opportunity, and very much so to GBD as a firm, in particular, Eric McDaniel and Matt Bray and James Chrisman. You guys were fantastic mentors, and thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you.